If you want to catch a bass, get up off your...
Coming up.
Got him, got him, got him. Yes.
Look at that, huh? Get her done.
Coming up.
Oh, yeah.
My golly, I think yours is bigger than mine, Lewis.
One more time.
My golly.
I got two.
Oh, you got two. Show off.
I ain't doing nothing.
If you want to catch a crappie, gotta wear a happy floppy. We're fishing on a windy north wind. When the wind's out of the north, a fisherman should not venture forth. Bill, but we're going to venture forth. I got my buddy Bill Epeards. Bill's been a friend of mine for lots and lots and lots of years. We have actually been all over the world hunting and fishing. Bill doesn't even fish hardly.
No, I'm no fisherman, believe me.
Bill is a hunter. He is a 6-time national champion, 1-time world champion bow shooter. That's right, bow shooter. He is absolutely outstanding. I've hunted with him in Africa, hunted with him in Oklahoma, hunted with him in Ohio, Texas. Really, we've hunted all over the nation and internationally as well. And he's a great hunter, but as far as target shooting, absolutely as good as it comes, And those tournaments, Bill, come down to usually sometimes just maybe 1 or 2 shots. Maybe the 1 or 2 last shots were for winning and losing. So winning 6 of them was remarkable. We'll talk about that a little bit more while we're fishing. But thanks for coming fishing with me today.
Thank you for having me.
We're going to have a beautiful day. It's in the 60s, low 60s. It's not going to get above about 64, 65. But we have sunshine, which makes it really warm. We got a north wind, which makes it cold. We might catch them on a crankbait. I've got American Original Deep Smoothie tied on my Jimmy Houston rod right there. And we might catch them on jigs or worms or spinnerbaits. We really don't know, but we're going to get after it. Let's go catch them. What do you say, Bill?
Let's go, buddy.
Let's do it, buddy. There's one. Come here, baby. Got one, Bill. Good way to start, huh?
That's a great way to start.
Didn't take Bill and I long to get one on a deep smoothie. We're going to try to crankbait a little bit out here today. That's not a giant. Whoa, he thinks he's good. It's a good way to start. He is hooked in the mouth, he just doesn't look like it. I got him. He's got the back hook barely in his mouth. That's pretty typical right there. Now this hook is swung around and hooked him in the side, but you see how he barely got it, barely got the back side of that bait. That's pretty typical of after a cold front like Bill and I are fishing today, but that's a great start right there.
Oh, that's a great start.
I don't know if we catch any real big fish today, but generally what happens on a situation like this, when you have a north wind blowing, generally what happens is you have a harder time catching fish because they won't move quite as far to get the bait. So we'll probably be fishing and slowing these crankbaits down, stop and go, but you usually catch bigger fish right after a front. So we'll see what happens.
Beautiful color.
Good way to start. Yes, sir.
A little better fish there, Jimmy. A little better.
Same size or bigger? It sounds pretty good.
A little bigger.
Sounds pretty good to me.
Yeah, he's pretty good bass.
I knew you was going to score a big one back there in a minute. You just have to, don't wind him all the way up. Don't wind him all the way up.
Okay.
Leave about 3 foot out when you wind him in.
Just pull him up.
Yeah, I'll break a rod doing that. Ah.
Nah, that's
Hey, don't hold a rod that close to the end. That's a good rod you have there. It's got my name on it. Yeah, you want to leave out about 3 or 4 foot of line, then you can lift them in like that.
Okay.
Just don't want to put much pressure on that rod tip.
Okay.
That's a good fish. He had the very end hook too, didn't he?
Oh yeah.
Yep. I'll be dang. They're liking that end. He was on the point. He was on the point just like, come here, baby. Come here, pal.
So yeah.
Yeah, see, leave out about 5 foot of line.
Okay.
That way you put a lot of pressure on that tip when you grab it down toward the end. That's a nice fish right there.
Yes, sir.
Almost as big as the one you just caught. There might have been more than one fish there, but because I missed one, I think was a little bigger than that one. And then that one hit it. Probably the same fish. Oh, there's one, a small one. He's all right. It's a little
Pretty fish.
There are some fish in the ends. I haven't seen any shad in these ends, but the fish are coming up in here. There may be some shad that I'm just not seeing. But he hit a red man spinnerbait. And I missed another one that was a pretty decent one. Not giant, but pretty good size. I figure we catch the biggest ones on those crankbaits, really, to be honest with you. Oh, there's one.
Oh, yeah.
It's a small one. There are some small ones up shallow. We might, this afternoon, Bill, we might be more fish up shallow water. That's not a tiny one, but he's not near as big as what I was catching on a crankbait. About like that other one I caught on a spinnerbait a minute ago.
And a pretty color. Man.
Yeah, beautiful fish. A little bigger than I thought. That's a
Yeah.
male bass, didn't have a big belly on him. That's a little bit bigger fish than I thought he was. Well, I was complaining about the size of that fish.
I wouldn't complain on that one, Jimmy.
Yeah. I'll take all those complaints back.
You should. You should.
Bill, I know you teach a lot of people. You always help me every time you and I got to shoot together, and we've shot together quite a bit over the years. And you can always see some little something every time that I may not be doing as well as I should. And I've killed a lot of animals with a bow. I've bowed since I was 16. Yeah. But what's the most common thing that people need to think about to become a better bow shooter, to get better easily?
Well, I think, one of the big things about shooting archery is doing the same thing every time. And that's by having somebody show you the correct technique. And the main thing is having a bow and arrow to fit you. If it doesn't fit you, Jimmy, you start off, anchoring correctly, and then you go in correctly, the bow's too long or too short. And it's a big deal. It's like you show me how to fish. I know nothing about fishing. But when you show me how to do and tell me how to do it, I try to do that. And if you get somebody that can set the bow up, set it up correctly, archery is about repetition, doing the same thing every time. And, that'll make you progress and I think, help you out a lot.
He jumped out of that. That's the way we want him to bite a spinnerbait. Come right off of that stump, that big old tree on it, right up on top of the water. Still not a giant, but a pretty nice fish. That's Bill and I have been talking about all day. It's been a pretty tough day, which is with the north wind blowing, high bright sky, and the wind's kind of died down a little bit, but what wind there is still from the north. And we caught a lot of nice fish like that, but we still not got that big one yet. But we're gonna keep trying. Exactly what we're gonna do. That fish, get right up on top of the water, right off of that stump. Right off of that stump. I mean, right on top of the water. Beautiful, beautiful strike. That might get that little tiny one. We might not show that little tiny one if you can catch a few more like that. All right, that's far enough. Now you can lift him in.
Lift him in?
Just lift him in. There you go.
Okay.
There you go, just like that. Wouldn't hurt to have about another foot of line out. Now that fish hit the front of the bait. You see that?
Yep.
Where the hook's in the front of his mouth? That means he hit the front of the bait, which means that he's actually biting a little bit better than those I caught earlier this morning and the ones
Hold on, big fella. I'm trying to help you, but I don't want you to hook me in the meantime.
That's all right, Bill. If you get hooked, I have a totally painless technique.
Yeah.
I'm taking hooks out.
I heard that
I've taken
before.
a lot of them out of a lot of people. I never felt a thing.
I don't want the same.
Totally painless.
Okay.
I don't want to have to take one out of you, but I'm just telling you I can
now.
if I have to.
Don't be biting me, old buddy. Don't be biting me, old buddy. I'm trying to help you out here. I'm trying to help you out. You got a mouthful of hooks.
Need those pliers?
I'm gonna have to.
Needle nose? Get that needle nose.
I got it now, I think. Yeah, I got it now.
There you go.
There you go, big fella.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one. I'm waiting for a big one to grab one of these crankbaits. I thought we might catch a
pretty
big one today. I bet we do before the day's over.
There you go.
Oh, there he is. I had that one down underneath it a little bit. Come here, baby. Same size. That's a nice little chunk. A nice chunk. You see these baits, Bill, these red man spinner baits. You notice that one just about got all the paint gone off of it. Hadn't pulled the dress down a little bit. Look how fat that little rascal is. Fat little pretty girl. Because of this wrap being on it, it's got the bend that it's got some line tied to it. Because of this wrap being, I've got some of these that I've caught over 200 fish on. The spinnerbait don't break. It gets ragged looking. You see like that, all the paint's gone and everything. Kind of ragged looking, but it doesn't break. I probably need to retie that. I'll make another cast or two. Famous last words. I can't believe that fish broke my line. Oh, yeah, I thought You're slipping one in quiet.
Yeah.
Are you ashamed of him?
Well, I just want to.
Not too bad. Not a giant, but
I just want.
as hard as they are to catch today, it's pretty good. We'll
Yeah.
take it.
Yeah. Take it easy, everybody.
By golly, he ate that crankbait, didn't he?
Yeah. Easy.
He got all the hooks in him.
Easy, big
I
fella.
mean, all the hooks in him.
Easy.
Well, I'm getting ready to go back to crankbaiting myself, Bill. I can't get them to bite that spinnerbait. Some did up in that one pocket, but other than that, I've done a lot of crankbaiting and
Pretty
not got a
color.
bite.
Pretty color. Get back in there, buddy.
Yeah. We need to catch some bigger ones somehow, Bill. Obviously, the spinnerbait's not the ticket to do it.
Yeah.
That's the same size.
See, you just
feels
got to
like.
be quiet
Down in the grass.
about the thing.
Come here, baby. Oh, he's smaller. I pulled my dress down on that one. Did you see that?
Mm-hmm.
See that little bait's panties? Put that skirt back up there. That skirt back up there. Ooh, finally caught another one, Bill.
That's good. Oh,
Not
yeah.
a big one, but a fish.
All right, it's a fish.
I'm sitting down being like Bill Dance, sitting there throwing that crankbait. We hadn't had a bite in an hour and a half. Pretty good little fish, though. Oh, nice
Oh,
fish.
yeah.
Nothing wrong with that fish at all.
Nothing wrong with that big one.
I see he's got the front hook in his mouth. As you know, it's amazing. This morning when they were really biting a little bit, they were all just getting the back hook, which tells you they just grabbing the back of it. Now we're getting the front hook, so they're hitting the front of it like they're supposed to. But that's a nice fish right there. Nothing wrong with that. Bill and I just haven't caught any big ones, but we caught quite a few fish to have the north wind blowing. You can see it's still blowing. The
Yep.
north wind's still blowing. The sun's getting down kind of close to the edge of the mountains there. And we haven't had a bite in a long time. It's like I told Bill a minute ago, I think they just almost quit biting. But, you know, you just keep fishing, you keep trying, and on these days when that wind blows from the north, there's a reason that rhyme says that a fisherman should not venture forth. When the wind's from the east, the fish bite the least. When the wind's from the west, the fish bite the best. When the wind's from the south, blows the bait in the fish's mouth. When the wind's from the north, a fisherman should not venture forth. We ventured anyway, Bill.
We did.
really had a good day. We really had a good day.
We had a great day.
You've done great with that casting reel too, buddy. Oh, there he is, there he is, there he is, there he is. He hit right out here by the boat. Pretty nice feeling fish right there too.
Yeah, that looks good.
Getting a few bites right here before dark. That's a nice one. That might be the big one of the day right there.
Good.
Barely hooked. I'm talking about barely hooked. Barely hooked. Sometimes you can let them turn sideways and they'll get the other hooks in them because he's just barely hooked. I might lose this fish. I'm going to try to swing him. Ready? Here we go.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's a nice fish.
Oh, that's
That's
about
biggest
the
of the
size of that
day.
biggest one we caught this morning.
Yeah, that's a good
I
fish.
thought he was even bigger than that. Look at there. What'd I say?
Barely
Just
hooked.
biting the end of it. That's why I lost two in a row. One of them got in the grass. He felt like a good one too. Out here on this point. We caught some this morning off of points, and now this evening they're off of points. That's pretty. Oh, I love it. I love it.
I should get a picture with that.
That's what I call good southern sugar right there. That's a pretty fish. This is what the photographers call the golden time of the evening, Bill. You know that. Got him?
Yeah, I got it.
Yeah, you got him. Pretty nice one, Bill. Cold fronts pose a problem for bass fishermen. That's just all there is to it. Sometimes you can catch the biggest fish after a cold front. Sometimes you catch a few fish and they're small. Sometimes you just bomb out altogether. But the bite is not going to be nearly as good. Now, one of the reasons that the bite is not going to be as good is after a cold front, bass do two things. If you realize this, you'll be able to accomplish at least have some success after a cold front. One is a bass will move into the tightest possible cover he can find. He'll get in like really close to a bush, or he'll get right in the middle of the biggest brush pile, or he'll get under way back under a boat dock, or he might get back down in the grass where your bait can't hardly get to him. That's one of the things. They move in a difficult place for your bait to get to. Second thing that happens is their strike zone gets smaller, which means that you have to have your bait in a smaller area to be able to catch them. You might have a bass that's laying right here and the strike zone be 2 or 3 or 4 feet away. So if you get your bait within 2 or 3 feet of him, he'll run out there and bite it. That strike zone after a cold front shrieks down where it might be only inches, where you might have to put it right on his nose to get him to bite. Your bait might be 6 or 8 inches away from a bass and he doesn't bite it. So that's why they're more difficult to catch. But if you'll use those two things in your fishing, they move into tight cover and their strike zone shrinks up. What you do is make several casts at each individual piece of target and get in the meanest, toughest place you can get your boats in. Cold fronts, you're not going to catch as many, but you might just catch the biggest fish of your life.